Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Allie and welcome to the top comment where I read and react to insane internet chaos in the form of Reddit stories. So if you like this type of content, please don't forget to subscribe. It is totally free and it means a lot to me. Happy Sunday everybody. I hope you guys had an amazing week. I hope you had an even better weekend. I have some really great stories for you today on this mashup episode. We are going to be diving into my personal favorite subreddit, r/AskReddit, aka the internet's group therapy with zero qualifications. So let's get into it. All right, this first one says, you have received 1 million of the thing you last Googled. What do you now have way too many of? The top comment says, homes for sale. I am an incredibly huge part of the economy. I am too big to allow myself to fail. Government, please relieve me. That would be nice. Comment below, what was the last thing you Googled? What would you have too many of? I'll tell you mine at the end. The next comment says, Mexican food near me. Still not enough. You can never have enough good Mexican food. The next comment says, birds that make noise at night. It's gonna be a long night. Oh gosh. I love the birds chirping though. The next comment says, 1 million canceled SpongeBob episodes. Not sure if this would be great or terrible. Someone else says, well then, I'm the very proud and esteemed owner of 1 million pictures of Dolly Parton without her wig. Yay. You guys search for some weird shit. Someone else says, cats riding robot vacuums. I'll take it. I'm about to have the most viewed video in YouTube history. Yeah, imagine all those cats riding on Roombas. That is a funny sight to see, unless you don't like cats, in which case that'd be pretty terrifying. The next comment says, sweet, I now have $400 trillion worth of jumbo jets from Qatar Airlines. Eat the rich. That's all I'm gonna say. Someone else just goes, I got a dictionary. What the Sounds like you're about to be the smartest person on earth. Good luck. Have fun reading all of those. Someone else says, if you want your golden retriever back, hit me up. And the last comment says, I genuinely Googled myself. And then someone else responds, you are now a significant voting bloc in your county. That is hilarious. I would have way too many moons because the last thing that I Googled, apparently according to my Google searches that I just checked, was pictures of the moon. So call me a moon goddess. This next question asks, what has become so expensive that it's not worth buying anymore? The top comment says, fast food. It's rivaling sit-down prices. Yeah, I completely agree. I went through the line at Chick-fil-A the other day and it was like $14 for just like chicken nuggets and fries. Like just basic, but it's fine. You know, treat yourself. The next comment says, I don't know about other regions, but here, all new housing builds are shit for quality. Like, I can't believe this trash made it past the inspectors, building, electrical, and plumbing, and was deemed suitable for habitation permit, not to mention the ridiculous price tag. Yeah, you guys already know I live in Colorado, and it is crazy expensive out here. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse until eventually it all collapses because what goes up must come down. The next one says, concert tickets. Oh, that makes me sad. I'll still spend money on concert tickets. I'm really into music, so I think for me that's like one of the fun things that I do every year. I used to work at a concert venue and that was fun. So if you ever want to go to concerts and you don't want to pay for a ticket, just go work at a concert venue. Super easy job, fun, chill, laid back. You get paid a decent amount, tips, and you get to listen to new music and potentially even see some of your favorite artists. The next comment says, chicken wings. They used to be dirt cheap. Do you guys remember when there was that whole chicken wing shortage thing, like right after COVID? I think it was like maybe 2021 or 2022. I think it was in 2022 actually, but there was like a whole chicken wing shortage and I was working at like a sports bar at the time and everybody was just freaking out over chicken wings and then they got so expensive and people were so pissed. The next person just says, remember when McDonald's had a $1 menu? And someone else responds and says, remember Taco Bell's 39-cent menu? Oof, we are aging ourselves with that because I definitely remember that from back in the day. Now I'm pretty sure Crunchwraps are like $6, which is just way too much for a fucking Crunchwrap from Taco Bell. No offense, Taco Bell. I love you. Also, I love Crunchwraps. I just think it's too much. They should be $5. I feel like $5 is better, even though it's only $1 difference. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. Someone else says Cadbury cream eggs, $2 for one of those little eggs. Someone else says movie tickets. When do people still go to movies? Comment below. What was the last movie that you saw? I think the last time I went to a movie theater was to see Barbie. And then before that, wow, it had probably been a good 10 years. I don't know. I don't like movie theaters. The last comment says, we were looking at ordering pizza the other night. It was $45 for a single pizza. What the stupid Nothing motivates you to eat in instead of being lazy like that. Oh, that is so brutal. $45 for a pizza. I've definitely DoorDashed Donato's to my house a couple of times, and it has not been anywhere near that. So I don't know what type of pizza y'all were trying to buy or where you were trying to get it from, but it seems like everything is just going up and up and up. And eventually, like I just said, it's going to have to come down, and it's going to come down hard. So fingers crossed for all of us when that happens. All right, we're going from things that are too expensive for no reason to awkward encounters. This one says, forget elephants in the room. What's a blue whale in the room you've seen go awkwardly unaddressed? The top comment says, work Zoom call. One of the managers was running late and thought his camera was off. Turns out it was on and he had just gotten out of the shower butt naked and everyone saw his huge schlong on camera. He soon realized and quickly turned off the camera. The meeting then went on like normal and nobody said a word. I've never been on a Zoom meeting before. I've never had a job like that a day in my life, but oh my god. The next comment says, the Epstein client lists. They think this similar shit with Diddy got us distracted enough to forget. Comment below if you kept up with the Diddy stuff. If not and you're looking to get into it, I cannot recommend the Rotten Mango podcast with Stephanie Sue enough. Oh my god. She's in the courtroom right now, you guys. She is literally part of the press in the courtroom. So it's her and her two researchers, and it's next level journalism. She just does a really great job. So if you haven't kept up with Diddy and you want to, go check her out. She is absolutely crushing it right now. All the stuff that's coming about him is disgusting. The next comment says, when your boss clearly shows up drunk to a Zoom meeting and people are like, technical difficulties, shame on you. Like I said, I've never been to a Zoom meeting before, but everything I hear about them is just chaotic all the time. Someone else comments, when Trump bluntly stated that they rigged the election on live TV twice. The last comment on this one says, I've been the elephant. I had a substance abuse problem and went to rehab. Went twice in 2021 and 2022 to 2023. I spent the better part of 18 months in a long-term facility. I've been clean and sober since getting out and have been very open about my time and where I had been. But aside from my parents, the rest of my family refused to acknowledge my treatment or rehab. The word is just too taboo. It's like for 3 years, I just disappeared and suddenly I'm back and nothing has ever happened. Super awkward. Rehab has an awful stigma around it, even though it has been the best thing I've ever done with my life. Good for you. I'm proud of you. Rehab can be a beautiful thing. Therapy can be a beautiful thing. They are beautiful things. I think that more people should try to utilize these resources that we have. I mean, I'm very open about being in therapy right now. It has completely changed my life. It's going to change my life because I'm probably going to be in it for a while. And I love it and look forward to going. So if you are watching right now and you're considering doing rehab or doing therapy or just getting your life together in general, I'm rooting for you. I love you. You got this. Go ahead and do it. We're all going to come to a general consensus that acceptance for people getting their lives together is amazing. And I would love to see more people talk about it and have the conversations. This one is so funny. I was laughing so hard earlier at it. It says, if every celebrity had a name like Bill Nye the Science Guy, what would they be called? The top comment says, Johnny Depp, Tim Burton's rep. Someone else says, Slim Shady, son of the spaghetti lady. Dr. Phil, the psychobabble shill. And then someone responds to that and says, Dr. Phil makes me want to take a cyanide pill. The next one says, Keanu Reeves, the guy who grieves. Someone else says, Tommy Chong, the old guy with a bong. Comment below if you can think of one, because these are so funny. The next one says, Sean Bean, the guy who dies on screen. And then someone else says, Stephen Hawking, hardly talking. You're going to hell for that comment. And I'm going to hell for laughing at it, and so are you. Nancy Grace with the punchable face. Yeah, I just can't stand her. I don't know what it is about her, but I just don't like her. Every time she's on Law and Crime, I'm just like, goodbye. I watch for Jesse Weber. That's it. Someone else says Jon Snow and the things he don't know. Yeah, Jon Snow still don't be knowing all these years later. Someone else says Charlie Sheen, the machine. Oh my God. Someone else says Jeffrey Dahmer, the people nommer. That's so bad. We're all going to hell together. I'll see you guys there. The last comment says Paula Deen, the butter queen and casual racist. Oh my God, you guys are too funny. The one that I came up with was Katy Perry, the space fairy, because her whole 11 minutes in space. And then I wasn't sure if I was going to include this, but I definitely am because it's just like extra funny. I was trying to think of more beyond the Katy Perry one, and so I asked ChatGPT to see if it could come up with some. You guys got to see this. It says Ariana Grande, the ponytail Beyonce, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the protein block bison, Taylor Swift, the breakup gift, Miley Cyrus, the twerk circus virus. That's so mean. Let Miley shake her ass in peace. Kanye West, the uninvited guest. Yeah, f*** you, Kanye. It goes on to say Lady Gaga, the meat dress drama. The last one says Megan Thee Stallion, the hot girl battalion. Good job, ChatGPT. Those were so funny. This one says, you have 60 seconds to ruin a first date. What do you say? The top comment says, so do you see this going somewhere? Because my parents really want grandkids soon and I already showed them your LinkedIn. Sounds like while he's pulling out red flags, grandma's already crocheting a onesie. I would run for the hills. The next comment says, when they show up, look at them with a flat expression and then just say, really? Sigh, and then say, well, I'm sure you did your best. And then say, actually, I'm really good at making the best out of bad situations. You can still pay for our date though. No notes. That's just efficiency. I think it would go from 0 to 60 out the door in probably 30 seconds or less. The next comment says, given my track record, hi, how's it going? Usually does the trick. Apparently this one has a 100% success rate at tanking the date immediately. Simplicity is deadly. The next comment says, nothing, just stare at them silently. 60 seconds doesn't sound like a long time, but imagine someone just staring at you wordlessly for a full minute. And I feel like it would make it even more disturbing if after a full minute of weirdness, I just started to make normal conversation. Let's go, dude. Just imagine staring at somebody for 60 seconds without saying a single word. Go stare at yourself in the mirror for 60 seconds and don't break eye contact. Like, go set a timer, and it's a lot longer than you think it is with somebody burning holes into your skin with their eyeballs. The next comment says, thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me. My parole officer couldn't believe it when I was telling him about you. Just remember how you ended up in this situation is all he could say. You know what's sexy? A little mystery. You know what's not? Parole. The next comment says, let's make this quick. My wife is waiting in the car. Yeah, and she's got snacks and pepper spray in her purse, so don't get cute with her. The next comment says, since it's my weekend with the kids. Great. Little meet the babysitter action. Can't wait. The next one says, are you familiar with the advantage of a fractional homeownership vacation condo? MLM pitches on a first date? You're bold. I didn't realize this was a trauma and a timeshare dump. The next comment says, step 1, make eye contact. Step 2, slowly put the ring back on. That's not a red flag. That is a full-blown fireworks show above the divorce attorney's home. The last one just says, you look so different when I'm not looking at you through binoculars. I think you misspelled restraining order. All right, moving on from that one. This next question that somebody asked on the internet says, woman here, what's the male equivalent of giving your wife a vacuum cleaner for her birthday? The top comment on this one says, a snow shovel. Many men like having and using tools, especially power tools, but a regular snow shovel says it's your job to go do a backbreaking workout in the cold and have it done by the time I need to leave. That has 25 1,000 upvotes, and it's giving, here's your seasonal backache, babe. Enjoy the frostbite. The next comment says, my uncle bought my aunt a shotgun for Christmas once, one he'd been wanting, so he could teach her how to shoot, and then they could share guns. Luckily for him, she didn't shoot him right then and there. But for his next birthday, she got him a dress that she'd been wanting and said, I'll teach you how to dress up so that way we can share clothes. They got a divorce a few years later. A queen. Petty royalty, well-deserved. You played the long game, and it's no wonder they got divorced. The next comment just says, my dad got trash cans once, and it has 18,000 upvotes. That's not even passive-aggressive. That's just aggressive-aggressive. Like, here, take the trash out. The next comment says, giving your husband a few bags of concrete and keeping an inquisitive eye towards the porch. This one kind of feels like a threat. It's like she's saying, build me a patio or I will build my escape route. The next one says, giving your husband a vacuum for his birthday. Ooh, a reverse Uno card. Very bold. Let's see how you like a taste of your own medicine. Someone else says, assert dominance and beat him to the punch before he has the chance to do it. This sounds like a TikTok strategy for staying single on purpose. The next person just says, a weekend getaway where he pays for everything and doesn't get to pick the destination. Ooh, romantic. Just don't mention the $2,000 resentment tax that's going to come right along with this. Someone else just goes, a gym membership with a note that just says, just trying to help. Ah, yes, the backhanded wellness insult disguised as a gift. 0 out of 10. The last comment just says, a plunger. The ultimate, I see you as my maintenance. Here, go unclog your own shit. Oh my God. I love Reddit. The next question we're going to read on here from AskReddit. Somebody asks, what wildly inappropriate song were you belting out as a kid, totally clueless about the lyrics? The top comment says, me at age 7. I'm sexy and I know it. Me at age 8, wearing Crocs and a Minecraft shirt. Oh, the duality of man. Serving 0 riz and 100% confidence. The next person says, the entire soundtrack to Grease. I mean, you would think it's about summer love and high school teenage drama, but it's not. Someone else says, Whiskey by Flo Rida. Yeah, not good. Man, that song was just one big, long euphemism. And we were all just sitting there with our little middle school backpacks pulled all the way up, sitting there rocking out to it like it was nothing. Someone else says, my humps, my lovely lady lumps. Oh my God, you know who that reminds me of? Ugh, it reminds me of Blake Lively when I forget. I don't even know the context of it, but she looked at someone and she was like, she called someone's boobs lovely lady lumps. And I just can't look at her the same way ever again. She has completely ruined her entire life. Imagine having everything you wanted and still being a narcissist at the end of the day, because that's exactly who she is. Allegedly. I don't want to get sued, but I think we all know. Allegedly. The next comment says, apparently summer of 69 is not about a specific year. Who knew? Okay. Raise your hand if you just now learned that, because I think I just learned something new. And it makes sense. I mean, why would we really expect anything else at the end of the day? It's giving, it's Britney, bitch. Hit me one more time. Yeah, that was my jam. The next comment says, Bad Touch by Bloodhound Gang. I had no business belting that out. And also any Usher song, especially Work It Out. Oh, yeah, not good. No bueno. What was the one? I wasn't like a kid when it came out, but S&M by Rihanna. Yeah, had no idea what those lyrics meant until like way later in life when I actually read them. Like I saw them like written out for the first time and I was just like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was about. It's not being about a bad bitch. I mean, it is, but in a different type of way, if you know what I mean. The last comment on here says, absolutely To Become One by the Spice Girls. I thought making love just meant being really nice to someone. Oh my God. Childhood innocence. To be innocent again, because now it's like we hear a song and we immediately know what the connotations are of it. But to be young and pure and innocent again, I can't even remember what that was like. All right, buckle up. Someone asked, what's a secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? And when I tell you guys, Reddit delivered. It not only delivered tea, but it also delivered therapy bills in real time. The top comment says, I watched a friend's cat for a week and I used it as an excuse to snoop. I found her diary, read the whole thing, and used that info to get her to like me. Now she's my wife. Ew, rom-com or red flag? It's giving gaslighting final boss. I do not approve of this. The next comment says, I once pooped in the bathtub and panicked. I flung it into a wall. My parents later renovated and now there's a 15-year-old turd inside the kitchen wall of my childhood home. It's coming from inside the drywall. I'm gonna need this to be made into a horror movie immediately. The next comment says, my cousin died when we were 17. During the funeral reception at his house, I stole all the money and valuables from his room. Okay, now we're moving into felony confession territory. This was your villain origin story, wasn't it? The next comment says, I secretly built an 800 square foot underground bunker on a property I sold, and I still live in it to this day without the new owners knowing. That is so creepy. That's why I have dogs. If I ever bought a house like that and I let my dogs outside, they would sniff your ass out in a heartbeat. There's no way. Ugh, you're weird. The next one says, I hate all of my friends, but I'm scared to be alone, so I keep hanging out with them anyways. I feel that deep in the pits of my soul. And I will tell you right now, don't stay friends with these people. They're just gonna suck your energy right out of you and completely make you a different person. They're probably not very good people if you hate every single one of them, and I'm sure they all just click like it's nothing. I definitely know the type. I cannot stress enough, just stop being friends with them. Better people will come along once you have that space available in your life. Someone else just says, I've been pretending to be colorblind since 3rd grade. I'm 28 now. I've even convinced an optometrist. Wow. So what you're telling us is you have professionally lied for over 20 years and even gaslit a doctor successfully. I'm both terrified and impressed at the same time, but mostly terrified. The last comment says, this thread makes me realize what a good, boring person I am. Same. I thought that I had drama until I sat here and spent probably a good solid hour reading through this post. I picked out the good ones for you guys, but if you do want to go check it out, just trigger warning, there's a lot of really gnarly stuff on this last post in particular. I just didn't want to read it here because this is my space and I like my cute, happy vibes of a space, not torrential downpour of just traumatic stories. Alrighty, bonus story number 1 says, what's a hack in your industry that customers aren't supposed to find out? The top comment on this one says, when I worked as a pharmacy tech, I spent a lot of time calling insurance companies and waiting on hold while the world burned around me. One time I got super impatient with the voice recognition bot because it kept hearing background noise and made selections impossible, so I started cursing it out. Turns out if you say the F word a few too many times in a short span, the bot recognizes you as an angry customer and will switch you to a representative real quick. I did this multiple times and got a lot of strange looks from coworkers until I explained the hack. Quick edit since I'm getting a lot of the same responses. I know now that you can spam 0 or the #sign to get the same results. It's a feature being phased out in places. Shouting representatives or operator also works. That has 28,000 upvotes, and I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this does not work. This absolutely does not work anymore. Like, this post was only from like a year ago, and the £0, it doesn't work. It takes you back over to the main menu page. Customer service rage mode activated. I hate waiting on those hold lines. The next comment says, consulting here, we don't know either, with 18,000 upvotes. And then somebody else responds to that and says, a friend of mine who works in consulting said 90% of his job can be summed up as find the guy at the company who actually knows what the hell he's talking about and then send plans to upper management. Consulting, sponsored by Control-Alt-Delete, apparently. The next comment says, lean into the bite, literally. I work in pediatrics and we're taught that if a child bites you, lean into it. Just push whatever part of you they're biting into further in their mouth because their automatic reaction will be to open their mouth and the risk of them breaking your skin is greatly diminished. Source, I was just bitten at work. I don't really know what to say to that. That's both horrifying and informational all at the same time, I guess. The next comment says, just because you're on hold doesn't mean we can't hear you. Let's all spiral together, because I know we've said some shit while waiting on hold to have a customer service representative help us. I know I've said a few choice words. Waiting on hold for somebody to look something up for you is like, it can be painstakingly brutal. It can take forever. They can't make anything easy, especially if it's government run. Like, just end me now. The next comment says, we can see what you're typing in chat before you hit enter. Ugh, no wonder they respond with, I understand your frustration, before we even express frustration. Yikes. The next comment says, hospital bills are negotiable. Just ask for an itemized bill. Oh, I know you guys have seen all this go viral online, especially if you live in America. I know you guys have seen those viral videos of people getting charged like $500 for sanitary napkins, like in a hospital, or like when women give birth and then all of a sudden they have to pay $500 for a pad after they just pushed a literal baby out of their bodies. Yeah, it's a no from me. Healthcare, but make it haggling. The next comment says, orchestral violinist, sometimes we don't play all the notes. And then there's a cellist that responds and says, oh, we know you don't. Hey, fake it till you make it. I play the violin and I have definitely done the same thing. The next comment says, sometimes teachers do pull grades out of their ass. I knew it. I felt it in my GPA, because there was no way I ever passed a single math test ever in my entire life. To this day, I genuinely believe that my high school math teacher just took pity on me, because I am so terribly bad at math. Don't ever ask me a math question. Even if it's basic, I will look at you like you have 4 heads and then not be able to count any of them accurately. All right, our last bonus story for today says, what is your most memorable story of petty revenge? You guys already know I love petty revenge. The top comment on this one says, I have a friend whose pumpkin/fall display at the end of his driveway would be run over by the neighborhood jerk. Happened every single year. My friend decided to put a stop to it. He withdrew money from his savings account so he would have enough to buy the largest pumpkin he could find, along with several large bags of Quikrete. Filled that puppy up and made a really pretty display. The jackass broke the axle of his shoddy car when he hit that pumpkin and could not drive away. My friend had his car towed away too. Ooh, festive and savage. I like that one. Good job. I hope his car was totaled. He sounds like a complete asshole. The next comment says, we had a coworker/manager who was obnoxious in a dozen different ways. She hated bananas and couldn't stand the smell of old peels, so a group of petty minions made it our mission to make sure there was a fresh banana peel in every trash can in the office every single day. So weird what trapped people will do for amusement when the company is not responsive to their complaints. This is giving Mario Kart Office Edition. The dedication that you guys all have to this is petty perfection at its finest. The next comment says, I caught my flatmate telling lies about me to some mutual friends. I made plans to move out the next month. In the meantime, she went out of town for a week and she left her car parked in its usual spot in the parking lot. I threw bird seed on it every morning and every evening, so when she came home, the birds would not leave her car alone. Oh, you just know that those birds were in on that revenge too. Birds are so smart. We don't give them enough credit for how smart they are. They never forget. Truly, they're just kind of like elephants. The next comment says, in a response to an admittedly pretty good practical joke, I hid several battery-powered alarm clocks in the perpetrator's room. Set them to go off one by one, roughly every 40 minutes between 2 and 6 a.m. Last one was hidden in the ceiling. Okay, this goes beyond petty revenge. This is psychological warfare, and I am both terrified by you and low-key kind of impressed at the same time. The one in the ceiling is absolutely diabolical. The next comment says, my brother did something to annoy his then girlfriend, so she took all the labels off of his canned food and tins in the cupboards. Are you opening a tin of beans or a tin of tomato sauce or maybe cat food? That is the pantry version of Russian roulette. Imagine going for a can of corn and you open it up and get hit with that stench of canned dog food. Like, If you know, you know. The last comment we're going to read says, back in the late 90s, I worked at a Best Buy, and one Saturday a month, we had to come in 3 hours before the store opened, so 7 a.m., for mandatory all-store meetings where we watch the video from corporate, give out Employee of the Month awards, go over department goals, and such. Well, there was a guy in our department named James who was a pretty crappy worker and showed up to the meeting an hour late, and then the manager took him aside and fired him. Well, apparently the manager didn't watch him on his way out of the store, and he went into the break room, stuck his fingers in every single donut they brought in for our break. So literally the only mild positive of getting up at 6 a.m. was literally ruined 20 years later, and I still feel like I missed out on that donut. Again, that's not petty. That is warfare. He didn't take it out on the boss, the person who fired him. He just took it out on everybody else, which is so unfair. I hate that for you. Hopefully you made it right with yourself at some point, and I hope you go buy yourself a donut every single time you think about it, because that is truly bullshit. Like, he could have just left quietly, but no. All right, that is it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Shout out to Kiki, who watches my channel. You are so smart. She commented saying that she was looking for one of the stories that I had posted on Reddit so she could go see if there was like an update or whatever. And I haven't been posting the story links, which is entirely my fault. So when I went to go back to look for it, I didn't even have the link saved and the user deleted the post, which sucks. So I am going to start linking all of the stories in the description for you guys. That way you can go check them out, surf on your own. Sorry I haven't been doing that before. This is definitely kind of a learning experience. I have absolutely no background in any of this. I'm just a girl with a camera, a microphone, and way too many opinions. So thanks for that. Shout out to Kiki. Love you guys so much. I hope you all have a fabulous week, and I will see you on Tuesday for the next one. Bye.